there, it's Tamara Payne coming to you from Everyday Superhuman. And I'm a holistic health educator. My husband is former U.S. military and a master instructor in scuba diving. So we just live an amazing life in the Caribbean, in Utila, Honduras. We created this company called Everyday Superhuman in order to help teach each and every one of you, everyday people, how to live into their superpowers and how to live the life of their dreams like we do. So today I've been asked many, many times as a holistic health educator, what does it mean to be healed? What does the word healing mean? And so let me first tell you, as I often do, what it doesn't mean. Healing does not mean fixing. It does not mean battlefield medicine. So, for example, if you have a cut, a major deep wound in your body, you need to go to the hospital. You need to go to a traditional physician, a surgeon, whatever. You need to get there. So, healing is not about this type of spiritual bypass or ignoring the needs of your body. So that is what it is not. So let me make that very clear. So, what is healing? Healing is number one, intuition. Healing is using your own unique connection to higher power, God, Holy Spirit, whatever you believe is wiser than you and higher than you in the terms of consciousness, then you get that gift of intuition direct. And so a lot of us as women call it uh, mother's intuition or woman's intuition. And so it's very comfortable for us as women to be comfortable with our intuition and listen to it, isn't it, in general? But we've been taught for years and years and decades, and maybe even centuries, how to trust the government and how to trust medical establishments and then let them make decisions for you and become the boss of you. So healing is actually you becoming the boss of yourself, aligning with your own wisdom. Mhm. So wisdom, intuition. Well, for men, for my husband, Scuba Sarge, he likes to call it his spidey sense. And I really like that word for men because spidey sense sounds a lot more like a superhero than intuition does. And so for those of you who are men listening to today, healing means that you listen to your spidey sense. You listen to your internal knowing that says, hey, there's a threat. Hey, there's something going on. That's part of what healing means. Healing also is really interesting because it's traditionally taught in two different forms of medicine. One is Ayurveda, which means science of life in ancient India, and has been studied and documented for 5 to 6,000 years in India. So it's pretty well documented and scientifically valid. And then you also have the second form, which is traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, which is the primary form of medicine for over 1 billion people in the world. And so, us being in modern countries and modern science and modern day, we don't always incorporate that old style of prevention of disease into our everyday lives. So when you look at the principles from traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, you start to understand even better ways to prevent disease. And in fact, if you look at science of ancient Eastern Asian countries, doctors were only paid if they prevented disease. They were not paid for fixing problems. They were only paid for preventing disease. And so for me as a healer and a holistic health educator, I really like that. Maybe you do too. So the next thing to look at for the word healing, this all encompassing, is it means partnership. So for example, when I hit my funny bone, on the table or on the doorway, I automatically begin to hold it. I'm already in partnership with myself and divine wisdom inside of myself. Maybe I haven't studied to know that my human hand or your human hand has a hertz frequency. Okay, it does. But I know that my intuition and my instinct and my partnership with myself and with my spark of Holy Spirit knows to touch and hold myself. That's not needing any formal education in the work. So, it means that partnership with you touching and holding parts of your body to help yourself. It also means partnership with a healer. So that can be a massage therapist, it can be a traditional physician, it can be a naturopath, it can be a nurse, it can be an acupressurist, an acupuncturist, a chiropractor. The list really, an energy healer, the list really is endless when you hold hands with a medical professional, whether it's allopathic or traditional, and that person, that practitioner helps listen to you. So let's take a very simple example. When I was early in my career, I met a man who was an accountant, and he had back pain in his body on the 1st and the 15th, low back pain, always on the 1st and the 15th. Well, what do you do usually? Most of us pay our bills on the 1st and the 15th. And he, being an accountant, paid the bills for himself and for all of his, accounting clients, or many of them. So he had an emotional cause behind disease, dis-ease. Now, so when I say emotional cause, that means that there's also a physical cause of disease. So 0.1 or 1% up to 99 or 99.9% of disease is physical and mechanical. We don't know what it is for each person in each unique situation. And then 99 or 1.1% or 1% up to 99.9% is then emotional cause. So in the case of the accountant with the weird back pain, low back pain on the 1st and the 15th, of course, the physical component was large for him. He sat in a chair. He didn't have the best posture. He had weakness in his iliopsoas, the abdominal muscles. He had weakness in his gluteals, his hamstrings, his quadriceps. He was sitting in a slump position, so there was even problems with his breathing and his chest and the muscles of his pectoral major and minor and teres major and minor. So this was a complicated physical issue for just low back pain. But from the emotional standpoint, he had a belief, an emotional belief, that there was so much lack and so much stress, and there wasn't going to be enough money in his account or his client's account to pay those bills. So I taught him two things, which I'm going to teach you as well. Number one, again, that human hand has a frequency, so I taught him to touch and hold his low back every time before he paid those bills on the 1st and the 15th. Of course, I worked on him physically 4 or 5 times to help him with all the different muscular structure things that were happening. So I taught him that. But then here's the cool thing. As he was touching and holding his low back like I am now, I taught him a prayer, a simple prayer. And the prayer was, and it's the prayer that I say now still, divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am so grateful. And I encouraged him to take the piles of bills into his hands and say that same prayer with intent. What did that take? 15 seconds, 30 seconds out of his day? To do that for his clients as well. And maybe even I suggested that he teach his clients that as well. I don't know if he did or not. That's not my job. And so that simple technique of physical balance, of teaching him about his body and him becoming a partner with me, of ways that he could self-foam roll, self-heal, have great nutrients, have better posture, on and on and on, along with the spiritual aspect of it, became the key to his low back pain. Now, I haven't seen the man in 20 years, so he can either be in a healed state, meaning he's in better balance, or he can be in a disease state. I have no idea. It's not up to me. It's up to him and his connection to his body temple and to Holy Spirit. So, thank you so much for letting me share with you in this almost vlog variation, but I hope it answers your question and it begins you investigating into what does healing mean for you uniquely. Thank you so much. Have a great day.